When it comes to video games, one of the most exciting things can be the boss fights. A lot of times they can be the highlight of the game, however sometimes they can be the thing that you hate the most. There are many things that can make a boss fight bad. They can be hard, easy, annoying, or even disappointing. Before I start, here are a few rules. 1. Only one game per franchise. 2. Only from games I've played. So if there's a boss that's not on this list that you think is bad, then chances are I just haven't played it. And 3. No bonus bosses. This is because they're optional and can be avoided. I don't think I need to say anything else, so let's do this. Sometimes, boss fights are annoying not because they're hard, but because they can screw with the player. And for me this is most notable with Cypher Admin Dakeem from Pokemon Colosseum. Now to show why this fight is annoying, I have to explain Colosseum's main gimmick. Unlike most Pokemon games, instead of going into tall grass and catching wild Pokemon, you have to snag shadow Pokemon from trainers, meaning that whilst fighting the rest of their team, you have to make sure you don't accidentally KO the Pokemon you're trying to catch. Now keep that in mind whilst I talk about Dakeem's strategy. 3 of Dakeem's Pokemon know both Protect and Earthquake. Earthquake is a move that hits all Pokemon. One Pokemon that doesn't know Protect is its shadow Pokemon Entei. Entei is a fire type, which Earthquake is super effective against. Can you see where this is going? Yep, it is incredibly likely that Dakeem will have his Pokemon use Earthquake whilst Entei's on the field and KO it before you even have a chance to catch it. It also doesn't help that Earthquake is an incredibly strong move, so unless you have a Pokemon that resists it, then you're gonna struggle. However, that's the only reason why it's not any higher. If you have a Pokemon like a flying type, or one that knows Levitate, which you will have at this point, then Dakeem will never use Earthquake, as it won't affect them. Also, even if he does KO Entei, you can catch him later when you rematch him, so unless you plan on using him on your team, you can just wait then. However, for how much grief he's caused me and many other players, he deserves a spot on this list. I can't believe it took me so long to finally play the Spyro series. It wasn't until the remix released on the Switch that I finally got my hands on it. While I've only beaten the first game so far, I have to say it was very enjoyable. Unfortunately, one thing that definitely sucks for the boss fights. All of them are pretty much the same thing. You hit them, then you chase them, then you hit them again, and you repeat until they're dead. And easily the worst offender of this is the final boss, Nasty Nork. Before you even fight him, you have to chase after 2 thieves holding keys. Funnily enough, this is probably the hardest part of the fight, as you can easily fall down the holes and die. After getting the keys, you can finally fight Nork. And by fight, I of course mean chase after him. And when he stops, you better hit him or else he'll run away and you have to chase him again. How fun. Now, what would you say is the minimum hit requirement for a boss? 3, right? So, how many hits does Nork require? 2. Yep, that's right, the final boss of the game only needs to be hit 2 times to win. The reason I don't like this boss is that the actual fight is pointless. It plays out more like a regular level, with Nork just acting like a regular enemy, and you're more likely to die from falling off the stage instead of from the boss, which is just pathetic. Also, if you do die, it's back to the start of the boss, so you have to chase after those thieves again. But at least it's short, so it's not too bad. I mean, imagine if you had to go back to the start after a long fight. Yeah, we'll get to that. You know, even though I know it's not a good game, I still have a soft spot for Simpsons Wrestling. Call it blind nostalgia, but I still have a lot of fun with this game. One thing I can't forgive, however, is the awful balancing in this game. Which brings me to the fight with Burns and Smithers. This fight sucks because of his 2 main attacks. First, he will throw out Blinky the 3-eyed fish, which if it hits you, you'll be immediately knocked down, meaning Smithers can get extra hits on you. But the worst attack is easily the atomic bomb. Burns will throw this into the ring, which will not only cause massive damage, but has a massive radius which makes it hard to dodge. In fact, there was one time where I had the match won, but Burns threw the bomb into the ring and broke up my pin. I mean, come on, that's not fair. What is this, the Springfield Screwjob? The worst thing about his special moves is that it doesn't take that long to charge up, so you can spam those moves as much as he wants. I tried this fight multiple times, and the only time I could win was when I used Barney, and I only won that because Barney's burping power is just as powerful. Or you know, you can just pick Flanders and use his overpowered attacks.
The heavenly powers compelled in the LU. Heidi ho!
I will say one positive thing about this fight though. The boss music is surprisingly good. Honestly, this whole game has a good soundtrack. You should listen to it after this video is over. Man, I really wanted to like Sonic Forces, like really wanted to, but I just can't bring myself to. It's just so bland. Boring levels, a story that thinks it's more important than it actually is, bringing back classic Sonic and then retconning him as from another dimension for no reason, and of course for this video, bad boss fights. They're all incredibly easy and not interesting, with the worst being the final fight with Infinite. It's easy, like embarrassingly easy. You run after him, you hit him, and then you dodge some of the slowest attacks in gaming history. What's even worse is, this fight is almost exactly the same as the fight with Metal Sonic, which is the last boss you faced before this one. In fact, I'd argue that the first fight you have with Infinite, which is also very similar to this fight, is much better than this fight. Yeah, it's still easy, but the area you're fighting is a lot more interesting, due to the fact you can run around the cylinder to dodge stuff, and the fact that it's an early fight means you expect things to be easy and simple at first, and then ramp up. But here, it feels like they got the fights the wrong way around. The last reason I hate this fight is that it basically ruins Infinite as a character. Think about it. The whole point about him is that he's an incredibly powerful character, and yet it only takes a couple of hammer attacks to defeat him? I mean, come on, they could have done something way more interesting than this. I mean, maybe if the Chaos Emeralds were in this game, you could have some awesome duel between Super Sonic and Infinite at full power. But no, that would mean that Sega would actually have to put some effort in. Look Sega, I don't know what you're planning next for Sonic, but please don't half-ass it like you did with Forces, because I don't think we can take another mediocre game. Another game I find to be really underrated? Muppet Race Mania. You'd think a game like this would be a mediocre Mario Kart clone, but no, the game actually goes for its own sort of thing, including a stunt mode where you use the game's mechanics to go through a sort of platform stage. Yes, that's right, this game is technically a racing platformer, and it works! Anyways, the game features 6 stages based on the 6 Muppet movies at the time, with 2 races, 1 battle and 1 stunt. In the battle mode, you can unlock boss fights. Now we get relevant. Each boss fight is based on the Muppet from the movie, with easily the worst one being Bill, Gil and Jill from Muppet Take Manhattan. Yes, you heard that right, you have to face 3 characters at once, and they're incredibly aggressive. If you're unlucky, they can blindside you, and all 3 of them can ram you in the corner and you'll be dead before you know it. Now I know what you're thinking, can't you just focus on one of them at a time? And well, yes, you can. However, you've only got 5 minutes to do it, so you can't focus on one of them for too long, or else you might run out of time. I mean, look at this! How do they expect kids to beat this? I mean, I understand making games hard, but do you at least do it in a way that doesn't seem unfair? That's not challenge, that's just being cheap. And here's a boss fight that lives in infamy. Shao Kahn. More specifically, Shao Kahn from Mortal Kombat 9. This guy is cheap. His attacks are incredibly powerful, and they do so much damage to you, whereas your attacks barely do any damage to him, and that includes your X-ray move. He has some attacks that can't be blocked, and he's so fast that he can blindside you with an attack just after you finish dodging his previous attack. It also sucks to fight him in story mode, as you're forced to play as Liu Kang and Raiden. So unless you're good with these two, which I'm not, then chances are this will be even harder. And then there's the goddamn 300th challenge. We have to beat Goro, Kintaro, Melina and Shao Kahn on 1 health bar. The only reason he's not any higher is because every time you reset the fight, it becomes easier. But you know, now that I think about it, that actually makes it worse. Almost like the game's mocking you.
Is that your best? All too easy. You weak, pathetic fool. It's official. You suck.
Shut up! Man, I'm just happy that Mortal Kombat 11 made Shao Kahn playable. Now I can be cheap and overpowered. Due to being quite young, I missed out on a lot of retro games. It's why I'm thankful for the many ways we can play these games now, thanks to things like the Virtual Console, mini consoles, and the many collections made. Thanks to these, I was finally able to play Mega Man 2. And it just might be the best retro game I've ever played. Great levels, great weapons, and great bosses. except for one. Don't act like you didn't see this one coming. I bet the moment Mega Man 2 showed up, many of you cringed because you knew what was about to show up. The Boo Boom Trap is garbage. Unlike every other boss in this game, the Boo Boom can only be beaten by one weapon, the Crash Bomber, a weapon that you also need to use to destroy the walls that are covering these things. What are these things even called? Boo Beams? Anyways, I digress. Because of that, you need to make sure you plan your route well, because you can run out of Crash Bomber. And if that happens, you're completely screwed. And guess what? If you die, your weapon energy doesn't recharge. So before you even get a chance to fight him again, you have to grind by getting these stupid Cotton-Eye Joes, or whatever the hell their name is, just so you have enough energy to kill them. The only positive I can say about this fight is that the walls you've destroyed will stay destroyed when you restart the fight. Thank God for restore points in all the recent releases. This fight is a blemish on what is an almost perfect game. It makes me want to track down the creator of this boss and make him beg like Dr. Wily. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Okay, I swear that's the last Clement reference I'll make. Man, it's crazy how the reception to Luigi's Mansion has changed. When the game first came out, people hated it due to how different it was. But now, it's regarded as a cult classic with 2 sequels and a remake. The only one I've really played is Luigi's Mansion 3, and I was enjoying it. Until I got to the boss fight with Clem the Handyman, which frustrated me so much that I stopped playing until I decided to make this video. The first thing that sucks about this fight is that the game forces you to be in a water tube. I already hated using this in the actual level, so imagine my frustration having to use this in a boss fight. The reason I hate this is the controls. You can't just move with the control stick, no, that would be too simple. Instead, you move forward and back by sucking and blowing with your vacuum. Man, that sounds so wrong. And in the heat of the battle, I forget which button will make me go forward and which one will make me go back. That's a problem because surrounded around the arena are spikes which will knock you out of the arena and damage you. And that means you're going to be spending a lot of this fight on low health, which is great, because the game beeps when you're at low health. I mean, why? I thought we stopped doing this cliche years ago, and for God's sake, even Pokemon stopped doing it. The other reason I hate this fight is that the game doesn't do a good job of telling you how to win. Okay, at first, I thought I had to maybe use my tube to knock him into the spikes. Nope. Okay, then he started throwing bombs at me, so I thought, alright, maybe then I have to bomb blob on him, like maybe use my vacuum or something. Nope. What you have to do, you have to get close to him so that he'll try to attack you, then dodge him so that he'll start spinning, then once he's finished spinning, you grab his tube with your vacuum and throw him into the spikes. How was I supposed to figure this out? There was no indication that I could grab his tube at all. Okay, maybe I was just overthinking this, nobody will figure this out straight away. But even then, that still doesn't excuse the awful controls. Also, after hitting him, you have to get out of the pool so you can start to catch him. And I'm pretty sure if you take too long, you just get back in the pool, meaning you won't have done any damage to him. However, I haven't tested this yet, and I have no interest in finding out. I haven't gone back to play this since fighting Clem, but I hope this is the only terrible part of this game. Well, this and Polter Kitty, that part sucked too. Warning, this section contains spoilers for the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Skip to this part if you don't want to be spoiled. I love the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I never played the original, or any Final Fantasy for that matter, but this has already made me a fan. The gameplay's great, and the characters, oh man, the characters are amazing. Cloud, Tifa, Jessie, Barrett, and especially Aerith. This game was perfect the whole way through, and I was super excited for the final chapter. Which is why it hurts so much for the final part to suck so much. This fight is a multiple phase fight. And you know what? The first 2 phases aren't that hard. In fact, it's pretty fun, Then you get to the final phase, the Whisper of Bahamut. And again, it seems pretty normal. Then he hits you with an attack that does loads of damage, and if you're already weakened before that attack, you'll most likely die. Which is when you realise that if you die at any point in this fight, you have to do it all again from the start. That's why I hate this fight, because this is not fun. There's nothing fun about having to replay sections I've already played just to get another chance at the part I'm struggling at. Another annoying thing is that this bottle features cutscenes, and after you beat each phase, the cutscenes are unskippable, which, again, means you are wasting time just so you can get another chance at the Bahamut, where chances are you'll die again and have to go through this whole section again. When I played this for the first time, I died about 4 times to the final phase. which means I had to replay the earlier sections and rewatch all the cutscenes 4 times. And let me tell you, by the time you've beaten this thing for the 3rd time, you stop having fun. You want to beat this thing just so you know you don't have to do it again. Look, maybe some of the other fights on this list are worse, but the difference between those fights is that at least they're short. At least if I die and go back to the start of the fight. With this fight, don't mean you have to replay sections you've already played because of an attack that does so much damage it is impossible to dodge. It also doesn't have that if you get hit while trying to heal someone, it won't count. Yet you'll still lose energy for doing it, which just makes it more likely that you're going to die and have to redo everything. The only reason this isn't number 1 is because I did eventually beat this fight. Number 1, however, is something I have tried to beat for years and I still can't do it. But first, let's go through a couple of honourable, or in this case, dishonourable mentions. Kid Buu from Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2. He has so much more health than you, it's incredibly vicious, you have to beat about 5 times to win. However, you can use items like Sensu Beans to make life easier for you. Spectrum Knight from Shuffle Knight. This fight will be okay, but I feel like it gets way too hard for one of the earliest bosses in the game. Crunch and Rocco from Crash Bandicoot Master of Cortex. You hit rocks to win. Moving on. Planktobox from SpongeBob SquarePants 2 for Square. It's literally an enemy rush. And this is the final boss! A big letdown compared to other SpongeBob bosses, including ones from this game. Hades Heart from Kid Icarus Uprising. The walls make it hard to hit him and he can be incredibly fast, and because of the walls, he can be incredibly hard to dodge. Samoa Joe and Brooklyn Von Braun for WWE 2K20. You fight for a few minutes, then win via cutscene. Yay! I'm so happy that after all the things these characters have done to me, the game basically beats them for me. And the reason this isn't on the list is because I don't know if it counts as a boss fight. As I mentioned in the previous section, this is a boss I have still never beaten without the help of a guide. I've been fighting him for years and I still can't do it. That boss is Soda Popinski from Punch-Out! Why do I hate this fight? Because he's so freaking fast! Seriously, you need some of the fastest reflexes in the world to dodge this man. It doesn't help that certain attacks can't be dodged a certain way, and certain attacks look similar, so you have a split second to react. That's one reason, but there is another one. In Punch-Out, when you dodge a boxer and then hit them, they are stunned and you can get lots of hits on them. Soda Popinski, however, does this a little bit differently, because at the start you can only hit him 2 times, and every other time you hit him you get another hit. Sounds good, right? Until you realise that every time you get hit, it resets back to 2. And because he's so fast, you will get hit. And if you get another one final knockdown in a round, he goes even faster! Oh yeah, and he can also refill his health unless you knock away his soda bottle. Now I'm sure people are going to say, oh, well if you know his strategy, he's easy, and there are ways to knock him down easily. And so I say, well, of course if you know what he's going to do, he's easy. The thing is though, I could beat every boxer in this game, including fighters like Bold Ball, Mr. Sandman, and even the bonus fight with Donkey Kong, without learning what they're going to do. Soda Popinski, however, I can. No matter how many times I fight him, I lose because he's way too fast, and because I can't do much damage to him due to the stun lock being reset every time I get hit. And for that reason, Soda Popinski is my least favourite boss fight in video game history. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.